Before arriving in Lebanon, my team and I didn't quite know what to expect. We knew parts were more westernized than others, but we also knew we were entering into a historically war-torn country. Upon arrival, we started ministry right away, teaching Bible classes and leading chapels in a private Christian school right outside of the capital city, Beirut. Even though the school was Christian, 80% of the students were Muslim. For most of us, this was our first time ever sharing the gospel with Muslims, as well as speaking in front of over 300 students. It was a beautiful time to interact with the youth of Lebanon and see some of them coming to experience the love of Jesus for the first time. Alongside working in the school, we also did evangelism on the streets. We first got to experience the hospitality of the people there during a time in evangelism where some of us sat outside of a tire shop drinking coffee and talking about Jesus with a man from Syria. This was a huge moment for us in understanding the openness of the people and their hunger to know more. At one point in the conversation, the man told us that when we were walking by, he saw a light around us and he knew we were different. All our stereotypes about how people in the Middle East were going to react to us sharing the gospel were shattered in this moment. On New Year's, my team hosted a 25-hour burn in Beirut. This was a night of non-stop prayer and worship over Lebanon. During this time, some of us would go out and evangelize. Just before we entered into the new year, God made a way for 2 Syrian men to encounter His peace for the first time in their lives. No language barrier was able to keep them from experiencing the living God. After a little over 3 weeks outside of Beirut, my team and I traveled to a coastal town called Damour. One of the highlights for us was the house visits we did there. We had the opportunity to have a small glimpse into the life of refugees who have left their home and everything they love to flee from a war that has torn apart their country and left such devastation. It was so heartbreaking hearing some of their stories, seeing the sadness in their eyes, and feeling the hopelessness that loomed over the room. However, before arriving in Lebanon, the Lord gave our team many words about bringing joy and freedom into the lives of the people there. Every visit was different, but one thing is for sure. Each one contained moments of laughter and joy, and some moments of sadness and tears. We bonded with these families through playing games and telling stories, as well as sharing the gospel and praying for them, all over endless cups of chai. This was a very special time for my team, as we so evidently saw God's pursuit of these families who had been displaced from their own nation. In the midst of that, God still surrounds them. He has and will continue to protect them in mighty ways. We spent our last 3 weeks of ministry in a town called Zahle. Zahle is located in the Bekaa Valley, which is only about 2 miles from the Syrian border. As it is so close to Syria, this valley is full of refugee camps. While in Zahle, my team separated into 2 different ministry groups. There was a group of us who did devotionals at a school in town, and who also got to help run a house of prayer and do street evangelism. Our other group worked in a school that was in one of the refugee camps. While in this school, we came face to face with some of the hardships these children have to endure on a daily basis. Seeing the levels of neglect and abuse these sweet children live with was heart-wrenching. Our desire was for them to know that they have a heavenly Father who loves them unconditionally when their earthly parents aren't able or not willing to love them like they deserve. Despite all of this, God is still on the throne. He hasn't forgotten these people, and He is actively pursuing them every moment. I was brought to tears after we prayed for a woman, and afterwards, she proceeded to say, "Muhammad can't help me anymore. Only Jesus can." This is one of the small stories of what the Lord did and is still doing in the lives of every family we had the privilege of meeting. The Lord is faithful with our yes and our willing hearts to serve Him with all that we are. Psalms 84:5 says, "Blessed is the man whose strength is in you, whose heart is on pilgrimage. As they pass through the valley of Baca, they make it a spring. The rain also covers it with pools. They go from strength to strength. Each one appears before God in Zion."